at the building here. So 91 feet is as high as it can go. That's the canopy of this rainforest is 91 feet. Does get about 60 inches of rain per year from the Biosphere too. We have a complete rain system up above. We'll look at that a little bit better down in the desert. Originally they did plant 300 species of plants in here. They actually expected about half of those not to survive. We have a scientist working in here. He's a botanist. He did a survey of the plants in here not too long ago. Found 100 of the remaining species still living in the rainforest. They're pretty happy with the diversity of plants that have survived for the 20 years in here. If you notice these big bamboo trees here, the big green stalks, at one time there was a solid wall of these across the rainforest here, dividing the rainforest from the ocean area behind us. This big plastic wall was not here. When Columbia came, they did do a number of different changes to the building. One of those was to divide the building into 3 different sections. So they partitioned off the rainforest at this end, at the other end of the building, the desert from the ocean area in between. So originally the building was one all open space, did not have these dividers. A few other plants, if you notice out, looking out front of the rail there, we're kind of on a little balcony up above the rainforest here. Make sure you notice the waterfall coming off the mountain there. So you may need to move in a little bit, see the water, if you haven't got a chance to see that. That big tree just to the left of the meadow tower there, that's a queen sugar palm, one of the larger trees, palm trees in here. They did plant 71 trees in here, 24 species of trees. You kind of notice the 2 to the right of that, and then kind of out in that big open space, the big tall tree with the straight trunk that goes all the way up to the top of the canopy, doesn't branch until it gets to the very top, is a kapok tree. Actually, when it branches, it produces a seed pod that was that had a very good fiber in it that was used for making life preservers, particularly back in World War II when our troops were fighting across the pond in the ocean. They used those natural fibers to make life preservers for our soldiers. So no doubt that tree helped save a lot of lives back when the man-made materials were really hard to come by. So it has had a very useful purpose. If you notice to the right then, all the way out to the outside of the glass, you see the large leaf tree. Those are seed banana trees. There are quite a few of those. They did produce a lot of bananas when the Biospherians were living in the building. In fact, it was probably one of their favorite foods. So much they liked it so much, it's the fact they were sweet, that they had to keep them locked up in a closet so they wouldn't sneak down and eat them all the time. So had to protect the bananas. Also had to compete with some critters that they brought in with them. They brought in 4 bush baby small monkeys. They're actually primates. They're not in the monkey family, but they did have those 4 bush babies living in the rainforest while they were here. They also brought in a complete complement from insects to birds. They had reptiles, amphibians, birds living in the building as well. You won't see any of those animals anymore in the building. Again, when Columbia came in 1996, there was a big problem with ants. The ants had kind of overtaken the building. So the first thing Columbia wanted to do was get rid of the ants, but they didn't stop there. Any bug or critter that was inside the building, they physically captured and took them out of the building. They just did not want to deal with any of the animals in the building while they had the power scan. That's why you won't see, with the exception, if you come in the rainforest here and after dark, they tell us never to get too close to the rails here. The people are the ones down below, because they're always covered with cockroaches. You know, we have a very good population of cockroaches. I guess Columbia could get them. They're pretty tough though. If you kind of notice down below too, on the floor of the rainforest, you notice some orange tubing actually on the floor, and it goes out of the rainforest. Those are some vacuum tubes that actually go to a laboratory in the habitat area behind us. Another scientist named Colby is doing a research on what's called VOCs, volatile organic compounds. They're very small gases that are emitted from the leaves of the rainforest plant. Even though they're very, very small, they're very, very important to the life and the health of the rainforest. So he actually can measure those much more efficiently in this controlled environment than he can. He actually worked last summer in a Brazilian rainforest, so he can compare the two. So he's pretty much at the leading edge of rainforest research. As you may know, about 1/4 of all our rainforests have been destroyed on our planet, on Biosphere 1. So hopefully by having a good healthy one here in Biosphere 2, studying it, researching it, learning a lot more about it, we will be able to keep those alive out on our planet, as they are very important to what's going to happen with with our climate, and our climate changes. It's